it up somehow.
Yes, be to our brethren kind and good. And on that note, we say a very pleasant night to my Straight Dog family in St. Kitts and Nevis, and my Straight Dog family all around the entire Caribbean region. To my Straight Dog family in the Kittitian and Nevisian diaspora, I say greetings to all who are logged on to Straight Talk with Ian Patches Library on my page on Facebook and on YouTube. And I say welcome to you wherever you are in the world. I say good night to the world. Or perhaps I should say good morning to the world and or good afternoon to the world as well, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. In the diaspora, I know you are in Asia, in Europe, in Africa, and all over North America. So I'm at liberty to use one of such greetings. For those who have joined me for the first time, may I inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum to express. You do have a forum to express yourselves freely. But let's in the process continue to try to get St. Kitts back to that accolade of being one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we try to raise the level of national discourse. We try to raise the level of national consciousness by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Library, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And we also are joined by our Win FM posse as well. At times we are joined by Sugar City FM. I have no update on that. But welcome, whichever medium you are on, and welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. And we normally, as a public service, we normally look at our observations in review. We normally have that time of the program when we try to follow the facts and in the process do some reflection. Then we can ask a few questions such as what was accomplished, how have it helped others, what has changed since, and what can be expected next, and what new we learned as a people. And in terms of our public service information, the Ministry of National Security released some information inviting applications from suitably qualified candidates for the position of Commissioner of Police in the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. And the responsibilities include management and planning of the police force, reporting to the Ministry of National Security, and the implementation of a policing plan designed to enhance the safety and security of residents and citizens. The police commissioner, it continues, will also undertake the general administration of the force, execute the policy directives of the ministry, oversee and direct the design of a crime-fighting strategy, and advise government on crime patterns and or trends. I wonder if you can advise all those experts in government today. Everyone is an expert. I'm sure that Dr. Joe is an expert, not only in medicine, but also by now in national security. But we must take some time and commend the retiring Commissioner of Police, Hilroy Brandy. Is a 42-year veteran of the force, of which he served, of those years he served 4.5 to 5 years as Commissioner of Police. And during that time, he significantly reduced the murder rate and crime rate generally. The homicides moved from 36, a high of 36 before his time, and I believe he has got it down to a low of 10 or 11 homicides, and that's commendable. So whoever gets that job as Commissioner of Police, believe me, will have some big boots to fill. But congratulations from the Straight Talk family to Commissioner Hilroy Brandy, and we all can just extend and wish him a happy retirement. And I just want to just let him know that retirement has its roots in Spanish, jubilación. So it's jubilation. So just don't retire with an I, retire with a Y. Our other observation is still just to remind all that we are still not being able to break those CBI secrets. No matter what you hear about transparency and good governance, the issue of the CBI, it's a secret to those in the cabinet. How many passports are out there? How many passports have Prime Minister Drew signed since he got into office some 6 months ago? We understand he has signed over 3,000 CORs on that prison project. So much was spoken about that project while in opposition on the campaign. But he came into office and he literally hugged up that project and trying to sponge as much money, as much dollars from that project, even though he criticized it highly. We also have heard, we've heard as well about this, and I need to get some clarification, matter of fact, in relation to the college of the Clarence Fitzroy College, I should say, and in terms of the tuition, because I do have an invoice sent to a student. It details a registration fee of $750 and an application fee of $35, with a grand total owed to the college of $785. And this information already also states that the following fees are not free and must be paid before you can register for your classes on SONIS Web. That's perhaps the website. And he said, too, the following fees are not free, the following fees, I repeat that, are not free and must be paid before you can register for your classes on SONIS Web. And they list the courses: teacher education, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, midwifery, exam fees, OADM, and marking fees, all listed on this document that was sent to the student. And it also states that if you are an ASGS student, please ensure that you have paid your CSEC or CAPE exam fees. I don't know if that's also an error, but it's a communication that was sent by the management of the college. And we also want to know what is going on, because Prime Minister Drew said one thing, and it seemed as though that something else is happening. Here's what Drew said about the CFBC.
Your Labour-led government will immediately provide free tuition for all students of the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College going forward. And those who have paid, you will be refunded.
So we will have to actually find out what is the truth in relation to these college fees. And my Straight Dog family, these are our observations in review for tonight. And we move right into my topic for tonight, my dissertation, my thesis, whatever you want to call it, my monologue. And it is entitled Political Fear and Victimization Spread Across the Federation. Now, once ago, we boasted as Kititians and Nevisians that we lived in one of the freest countries of the world. I used to boast about that, and I boasted about that anywhere I went in terms of our freedom. But in the last 6 months, citizens of our federation are experiencing a level of intimidation, fear, and victimization by this government. And by all standards, we have never seen such a level of intimidation, fear, and victimization by any government, not seen in many, many years. And this has raised questions about our rating in the annual Global Report on Political Rights. It has raised questions about our rating in terms of our civil liberties, called Freedom in the World. That's the name of the report. It has also forced many people to reflect on those dark days of the Robert Bradshaw rule, when he deported his fellow West Indians for mere political association. Yes, Bradshaw deported Mr. Peters back to Dominica. He deported the bottling company manager, Mr. Williams, from Barbados, sent him back to Barbados. I recall as a young man shop owner at East Park Range, Mr. Hunt, was sent back to his homeland in Antigua. And even Carney Osborne, the general manager of ZIZ Radio and Television, was deported back to his homeland in Montserrat by the Robert Bradshaw regime. Kennedy Simmons then got his turn in the 1980s. And though we can't find evidence that he deported anyone, to our knowledge, the story is, though, that he fired a few civil servants. He redeployed many, for example, teachers. I remember Bouncing was moved from the Basti High School and sent to Sandy Point High, may he rest in peace. And teachers were sent all over as a form of victimization. Police officers from Basti were sent to Charlestown in Nevis, and Newcastle in Nevis had to leave their family and were transferred to Nevis. And there was one famous story about a man called Pappison, may he rest in peace as well. I think he was Mr. Wheeler, who was demoted and sent to the market, demoted to become the market keeper. Then came a young Denzel Douglas, who fired public servants left, right, and center. And I recall specifically when he sent home 35 workers one night from the St. Christopher Aaron Support Authority. I remember that day very well, and everyone was asking how it is Chairman Peter Jenkins signed those dismissal letters. But truth be told, I, as the CEO, bluntly refused to put my signature on those letters. I bluntly refused, as there was no other cause but politics, why these poor workers were being sent home. One of them I remember very well was my good friend and football teammate and longshoreman Rudolph Tone Richin. May he rest in peace. Also, Jamdown and many other poor workers who got their letters by night. I saw Skinny just a few weeks ago, a week ago, and we had a chat about that. Skinny was the bus driver who they had to deliver these letters by night. But 7 years ago, fast forward, came Team Unity. And the Lord appointed a leader called Timothy Harris. And we knew that he would be a good example of representation of all the people. And we knew that from the moment he stood up in the parliament and made the statement of sacrifice and commitment to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Somebody must be brave enough to speak that basic truth and say, as one brave person said, if I perish in speaking truth to power, I perish! I perish, man! But truth must be spoken. Truth must be spoken. And that is what we are attempting to do, Mr. Speaker. That is what it is, Mr. Speaker.
And Labour, PAM, PLP, as a matter of fact, everybody kept their jobs in government on the Team Unity. Timothy moved away from the tribal nastiness, I call it. Tim got away from party politics and stood up for the people, especially for the poor people of St. Kitts and Nevis. But get up to date. Now we have a young man called Terence Michael Drew, who has no clue on how to govern as everything is going wrong. Everything under Drew seemed to be going wrong. And I'm so happy that the leader of the People's Action Movement, the current leader, Sean Richards, and first of all, I should commend the People's Action Movement for attaining its 58th birthday. So too, I commend the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party for attaining its 90th birthday. And it is really a good sign to see the leader of PAM, Sean Richards, seem to have woken up from his slumber, even though he was not given the opposition leader's position. But everything is going wrong under Drew, and I'm happy that Sean Richards got the courage to point them out.
In a recessionary year, not just for St. Kitts and Nevis, but in countries globally, there is an associated increase in cost of living. For this reason, we understood and outlined a series of relief measures to help individuals and families weather the dry months. The new administration did some of the same in its campaign. Here we are, again, some 5 or so months later, with energy crises and grocery hikes. None of the election promises have been fulfilled. Opportunities have not been created in employment or incentives. The new administration had announced the capping of fuel. Nothing done. Healthcare, no improvement in healthcare to date. The water situation is worse. The hospital is out of water. The Cardin home out of water. Homes out of water for more than a day, including during the height of the Christmas and Carnival season. This is unacceptable in modern society. Governments are in office to help solve national problems. Governments are put in place to care about people.
But that's a reality in St. Kitts, modern society. As I said, Terence Michael Drew doesn't seem to have a clue. He's cold like the morning dew. He intimidates, terminates, and victimizes the poor workers in this country. And my Stray Dog family, something has to be done about that.
I turn to the vexing issue of victimization. While it is understandable that elections have consequences and that a change in government will see implicit changes in board members, etc., what is baffling is that this government promised to be different. They promised to do better. They promised to be a government for all citizens. Yet, here we are, victimizing citizens at every turn, with no regard for their skills, talents, performance, nor for the families they have to feed.
No regard whatsoever. But my Stray Dog family, Terence Drew is an impersonator. He's not ready for being Prime Minister. There is one Prime Minister in the Labour Party cabinet, however, who seemed to work in absentia. Right now he's traveling someplace in London or elsewhere. And that one Prime Minister in the Drew cabinet, his name is Denzel Llewellyn Douglas. But Drew has said that he will never walk in Denzel's shadow. So he impersonates a Prime Minister, or rather he may be an impersonating Prime Minister. Meanwhile, Denzel Douglas does not guide Prime Minister Drew, who is about to put the ship of state on the rocks, while Denzel cocks his foot and sips his coffee, because he's not going to guide Drew at all. A Stray Dog family.
Me drink me coffee and cock me foot. Me drink me coffee and cock me foot. Me drink me coffee and cock me foot.
And that's what Douglas is doing, drinking his coffee and cocking his foot. But the people that are affected mostly by the actions of the government are the poor and the working class citizens who are dependent upon the government for employment and for social programs. When the Constitution of St. Kitts Nevis was written, it included clauses that guaranteed every citizen full fundamental rights and freedoms. In addition to these rights being spelled out, the representatives who are elected to serve take an oath of office. These representatives take an oath of office to abide and execute these rights to their citizens. But my Stray Dog family, we have to at times think what is happening to these our representatives, those who are appointed and those who are elected. Because my Stray Dog family, they do not really conform to their oath. Obviously, their oath is not a solemn oath in their view. However, as I said, some of these representatives, after they swear to their oaths, they tend to forget or ignore the reasons why they are elected or appointed to serve, like this one, my Stray Dog family.
I'm not afraid of anybody, and I was saying that straight up. I'm not scared of anybody. I was hired to do a job, and I'm going to do that job. So some people should be shaking in their boots right now.
Well, I don't know who will be shaking in their boots, but I can tell you I know who will not be shaking in their boots. But my Stray Dog family, I have witnessed many Kittitians who have lost their jobs because they have said something against the governing political party or one of their political representatives. There were times when it was not only the person, but members of his or her family as well. It did not matter whether they were performing exceptionally well or not. People are not only afraid of vindictive acts coming against them from the Terence Drew administration, but also against their relatives who continue to live in fear. Many people in St. Kitts and Nevis were dissatisfied with the Team Unity government, but they were not afraid to speak out because of reprisals that will come. If they had spoken, there were no reprisals. But hell no, not with the Jew Labour administration. It's the same old, my straight dog family.
Rather than use the opportunity to be different, we have unfortunately gotten the same old Labour in a new suit and tie, sitting in the halls of government. Haphazard, ill-thought-out plans and policies is typical of a Labour government.
And that's what we have got. And it's so refreshing to hear Sean Richards come out from his slumber and tell it like it is. But citizens have a fundamental right to join any political party that they choose. They also have the right to vote for any candidate of their choice. I have many relatives who are members of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. But whatever party they choose, they are still my relatives, and that is their right. How can we continue to build an independent nation when most of our people are living in a state of perpetual fear? This is not the way it should be in a democracy. The response to fear for many is called the fight or flight. Well, say like King Shortshirt, my people, nobody gonna run me from where me come from. And do not do like King Elimat and run away. No flight, let's stay and fight. And happy birthday, King Elimat, if you're listening tonight. No flight, let's stay here and fight. St. Kitts, good enough for everybody else, so it must be good enough for you and me. We're not going to run. Nobody going to run me from my country. So tonight, I call on every Kittitian and Nevisian to demand of all of our political parties to commit themselves to ending the politics of intimidation. Let us call on our current crop of Labour leaders in government to get rid of this political fear and victimization that has spread across the Federation. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. It's a very, very contentious subject. Victimization has no part in our society. So I wanted not to tarry too long tonight, because I want to hear from you about your fear and of victimization that has spread across this nation. I can go down the list of names, but for tonight, I'll leave that to you, my Street Dog family. I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. If you are so minded to call, the numbers are 663-6672. Overseas, it's 646-829-6672. I've heard my overseas family for some time. Last week was a holiday. Let's hope you're on tonight. But if you are one who likes the cloak of anonymity, we give you access via our email platform. And that address is straighttalkpatches@gmail.com. It's one word, straighttalkpatches@gmail.com. My family, victimization and fear and intimidation has no call in our society. The lines are open. It's now 26 before the 9 o'clock hour. Remember that we come each Monday and Thursday from 8 in the night time to 10 in the PM. And we also stream via WinFM. We stream via Facebook. Just share the link on YouTube and off Facebook. Tell your neighbor to tell her neighbor to tell your friend that Straight Talk is on the air. My Straight Talk family, this email, I fully endorse. Read this email. I fully endorse Mrs. Henry's decision to cease calling into Freedom Radio Issues program because of the insults and disrespect a particular host continues to hurl at her, and also permitting certain callers to curse and abuse her relentlessly without any justification. And no corrective measures will be taken by the owner, manager, because he is mortally afraid of the host's rude and expletive mouth. Although many of us will miss Mrs. Henry, erudite and well-presented contributions on diverse subjects, I concur with her to stop. And yes, again, my Straight Talk family, if you have just joined me, someone tell me, text me, WhatsApp me, and tell me if I'm on live on Win, and see that we've got all of our media covered. But if you just joined me, my Straight Talk family, we are discussing the topic tonight of fear and intimidation, political fear, to be correct, and victimization spread across the Federation. Because people are afraid to talk. People are just afraid. I just advertise my program. I advertise my program. I cannot even call the name of my program as I speak to you now, because I am restrained. I'm restrained by an order, an injunction, and at that an ex parte injunction filed at the instance of one Garth Lucien Wilkin. And you've heard about it. And perhaps you are saying that I'm not talking about it, but I just cannot speak about it because of the court injunction. I have an order from the court not to speak. I can't even call certain names. Imagine, in my own country, a country where I was born, I was raised, and I still live. A country where I worked hard from the bottom going right to the top. I started as a PAYE clerk, a little clerk, and I took every rung on the ladder to the management. But now I cannot speak because one, Garth Lucien Wilkin, went to the court, took an ex parte injunction. He filed an ex parte injunction and served it on me last week, Thursday, I think it was, and I couldn't say anything. Could you imagine that? But let's go to the lines, my Straight Talk family. It's now 23 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Hello, caller? I think I'm hearing that caller. Okay, there must be something wrong with that call. I'm just not hearing that caller tonight. That's when things go wrong, they really go wrong. Let's see. Try the call again for me, caller. It's 663-6672. I don't know what's wrong with that caller tonight, but it's now some 22 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour, as we have opened the lines. We will entertain your calls and entertain your emails. My Straight Dog family, we're discussing political fear and discrimination spread across the Federation. And my Straight Dog family, I just don't know what went wrong with that call and these calls that are coming in. When things go wrong, when they should go right, they sometimes go wrong. But let's keep the faith and let's try calling again. For me, caller, that's 663-6672. Political fear and victimization spread across the Federation. Once ago, we boasted, as I said, once ago we boasted as Kittians and Nevisians that we lived in one of the freest countries of the world. But in the last 6 months, citizens of our Federation are experiencing a level of intimidation. And my Straight Dog family, fear and victimization by a government not seen in many, many years. This has raised questions about our rating in the annual global report on political rights and civil liberties called Freedom in the World. My people, it has forced us to reflect on those dark days of the Robert Bradshaw rule. I'm just learning that the Win FM is not with us. I don't know the reason for that, but we will still continue, my Straight Dog family. It has forced us, as many people, to reflect on those dark days of the Robert Bradshaw rule, when he deported his fellow West Indians for mere political association. Bradshaw, my Straight Dog family, deported Mr. Peters, a Dominican. Bradshaw deported Mr. Peters. He also deported one Mr. Williams, a Bajan, who was in charge of the bottling company. He deported Mr. Williams back to Barbados, his hometown. He also deported, I remember, Mr. Hunt from East Park Range, had a shop on East Park Range just right next to the CHA, now known as the NHC. And he was deported as well to Antigua. Let's try this call here one more time. Caller, you live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Just not hearing these callers. I don't know what's going wrong here. My Straight Dog family. Just not hearing those callers. Need some. Are you hearing me, caller? I'm hearing you very soft, caller. Are you hearing me? I'm hearing you very soft, caller. Are you hearing me? Okay, I'm just not hearing those callers, so perhaps I'll have to abandon that for a moment, my Straight Dog family. Yes, I'm just hearing you vaguely, caller. I know you perhaps you are hearing me, but I'm just not hearing you. Whatever's gone wrong with these lines tonight? Yeah.
Stop now. I'll keep moving on to reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on.
Are you there, caller?
Hi, Patrice. Good night.
Yes, good night, my dear. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
I am peaceful. I'm peaceful.
Yeah. So saying it's come a communist country, it's Cuba now. You're not free to speak.
I can't speak at all in this country. Either a totalitarian country it comes like.
Yeah, well, this is a communist country because you're supposed to speak whenever you want to, and you can't speak anything now. So it's a communist country.
Yes, it's so sad.
It's sad. It's really do. Thank God I'm in America.
Thank God for life as well.
I'm in America. You speak whenever you want to. So I hope that they will change their ways and get back natural, because people should be able to express themselves. Because you have some people, you know what happened? You have some people, they like to give you big jokes and heckle you. And when their turn come, they can't take it. And this is what happened going on right now. Because when Team Unity was in, every station, every day, until they're out. And now their turn come now, nobody's supposed to say nothing. Because all is well. People have to know what's going on. People have to know what's going on. I mean, you're not holy. You make mistakes and you learn by your mistakes. So I don't know what is their problem. Anyway, I hope that they understand themselves. So you take care, okay?
Thank you very much. You take care as well. Thanks for
okay,
calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I'm hearing my overseas callers, and that's a good sign. I trust that my local callers can now try to get in. I understand. Let's try this. Local caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Okay, I'm not getting those local calls for some reason. Straight Dog family, I know you're trying to get in. I no doubt you're hearing me, but my local calls are not connecting. So let's see how we can sort that out. Straight Dog family, but I'm having some technical difficulties here. But we are looking at the freedom of speech. We're looking at the victimization by Straight Dog family, and we're looking at intimidation, and we're looking at political fear in the country. And it has taken us back. It has taken us back to those dark old days of the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw rule. And I mentioned, and I'll mention it many more times tonight, that we have not seen this in a long, long time, whereby we have not seen this in a long, long time, my Straight Dog family, where people are not free to express themselves. It has also forced us as a people to be afraid. Who would believe that in the 21st century, people are afraid to talk? People are afraid because, as Sean put it, it's the same old, same old.
Rather than use the opportunity to be different, we have unfortunately gotten the same old labor in a new suit and tie, sitting in the halls of government. Haphazard, ill-thought-out plans and policies is typical of a Labour government.
Same old, same old. And Bradshaw back then deported West Indians from St. Kitts. Yes. Some of the names that ring a bell, and I'm sure you may know some names yourselves, for those of us who were around. I was a young boy at the time. But Bradshaw deported a Mr. Peters, Mackenzie Peters' father, may them rest in peace, from Dominica. He sent him back to Dominica. There was a Mr. Williams as well. Let's go back to the lines. My Straight Dog family, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hi. A happy birthday to you. A happy birthday to you. Each day up here. May you find Jesus there. A happy birthday to you. A happy birthday to you. The best that you ever had. I know it can't come yet. It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
But I want you to enjoy it to the best. And don't worry about a thing. Everything gonna be all right.
I'm sure.
Okay?
Sure. Thanks a lot. It's tomorrow.
Everything gonna... Huh?
Yes, sorry. I was saying you sent me in advance. My birthday is actually tomorrow.
Yes,
but
I'm
thank
sending
you.
you in advance because I know I ain't gonna hear you again.
Tomorrow. I got
so
you.
I'm sending it to you in advance. I know it's tomorrow, man.
I got you, my dear sister. Thanks a lot for your felicitations, greetings.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Have yourself.
I'm so anxious to hear what the result. But anyway, I know it will come true.
Results of
your case.
Yes, man. It will come true in time. You know, it's a time longer than twine, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, my dear. But
yes,
I'm sure we'll come back.
Okay. Have a good night.
Have a good night as
well.
Have
a good night.
Thank you, my dear. Thanks for calling. Let's go back to the lines. Let's try this other line. Let's see if this line is working. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Something wrong with this line, my Straight Dog family. Oh, wow. Okay, Caller, you may be hearing me, but there seems to be something wrong with my local line. I don't know what's going on wrong. It's not getting my local line for some reason. I don't know why, but forgive me. I'll see if you can get those technicalities. Are you there, caller? Wow, okay. Seem to be having some difficulties with my local line. It's a 663-6672. What's going wrong? I don't know. But my Stray Dog family, in spite of the technical difficulties, we're gonna take these emails and let's see if I try this number again. Caller, are you there, caller? Okay, I'm getting this call. It seemed to be. Are you there, caller? I'm just not hearing on this line. Caller, you're calling from the UK. It seems like a UK number. Could you try 646-829-6672? You're calling the local number, as I seem to be having some difficulties with my local line, but if you can try 646-829-6672, I will be eternally grateful, caller. But something seemed to be gone wrong with my local line. But as I was saying, what is happening in our country today in terms of victimization and political fear has taken us all the way back to the 1970s with Robert Bradshaw. It has taken us back near 4 decades. And it has brought back the memories when Bradshaw deported a Mr. Peters back to his homeland in Dominica. He deported a Mr. Williams, who was the manager of the St. Kitts Bottling Company, back to Barbados. He deported a shop owner from East Park Range, Mr. Hunt, back to Dominica, back to Antigua, beg your pardon. And then, above all, this one took the cake. He deported his general manager of Radio ZIZ and television, Mr. Carney Osborne, back to his homeland in Montserrat. And that's how mean Bradshaw was. But this email reads, I'll get back to the other governments from Kennedy Simmons come down to Jew. I'll try this number one more time, this local line. Are you there, caller? Okay, I'm not getting this local. Okay, let's try this overseas line. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Oh, hello, Patches?
Yes, you're live.
Yeah, you can hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear, my brother.
Lovely. You know what I had to do? I had to catch a flight and I go up in the States to this number.
Okay, that's very smart of you.
Anyway. Thank God, I'm a telephone bug.
Okay.
Thank God that I could get in on you. And thank God for you. First, I want to say good night to everybody who can hear me. I know the problem is not our phone. The problem is the connection. But anyway, you can do that. I want to congratulate the People's Action Movement on their anniversary. And I also want to tell Brother Sean Richard, I admire you. Stand up and speak out against the things that are wrong. And I know that you will continue to do that, especially when they're trying to shut down you and Timothy Harris' mouth in Parliament. But they can't shut down all your mouth on the radio. So I am glad, Sean, every time you get a chance, you speak. I am behind you. I am a PLP supporter, but I'm backing you because anything that is right, I give the support to it. And I will always be behind you when you talk. Because I notice you over the years, Sean, that you don't suck up in a lie. One time I was in America when the leader, Dr. Douglas, said that there is no VAT on school supplies. And you went and you bought some school supplies and bring back the receipt. And you show him that there is VAT on it. So that, from that time, I said, Sean is a good man to listen to. So thank you again, Sean. Now, let me go to this man here they call Terrence Joe. He has made many promises on the political platform before election. We are not going to do like them. 7 years they're in there doing this and doing that. We are going to be different, and we are going to do things better. Well, we haven't seen that. Well, I want to show you something, Patches. The Bible says all men are liars. And if the Bible could call man liars, me could call him so too. We know the man who said he had 10 men in one, Dr. Douglas, we know he have tell many lies, like anybody else. But it take Dr. Douglas 20 years to tell his lies. But Joe just gone in there last week, and he surpassed Dr. Douglas with lies. Look at what he said about the college and the students. Look at the one there. Eh? Oh my God. Patches, I so wet to hear me that I want to tell everybody in St. Kitts now. Do not be afraid of Dr. Joe. Turn your way from your work. Or stop what money are you getting. Don't be afraid. God provide for everybody. He give everybody the strength to stand up and walk and do what we have to do. Be fearful. Fear of God. Don't fear God. Be fearful and respect man. When man can tell lies, you got to stop them. Let them know, man, you're lying. Don't do it. Because the Lord hates lies. And that is what this government is feeding on. Pure lies and victimization, and want to intimidate people. And want people to fear them. People stop fear them. Do like Patches. Patches ain't afraid nobody, whether he in government or out. Patches speaking the truth. Let him speak the truth and let us do like him. If I was working for anybody here in any government, I would have tell them what they're doing is wrong. You don't turn with people if you find them in fault. If they're not breaching the company's rules and regulation, why should you turn with people? Look at me good friend here, Azad Gums, a cool man. Azad is so cool, like a sheep getting the death, and they ain't balling out. And they got turn with Azad because the man is a pam, because the man ain't wearing a red shirt and a red hat, saying labor, trying to be like those reptiles, a lizard and a guano. They change their color according to the environment where they are to camouflage and fool the prey so that they could prep on them. Don't change nothing. They know who are you be. They know who support them from who ain't support them. So it doesn't matter what kind of red water boot, red pants, red shirt, red everything. They know who are you are. Stop it. Let all your conscience be all your guide, man. Speak out against them wrongdoings. Yeah, Patches, they had sent home Wilsey White Father to Mount Strat too, from Brotherson. And Mr. Bazi from Cranston.
Yeah, quite a lot of people.
And Dennis, and Dennis
Anguilla,
Richardson, who used to work for Hasford.
Anguilla, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Right, to Anguilla. And these here, oh my goodness, here for me. Dr. Simmons didn't deport nobody, but he shift them. He shift them. And since in Douglas' time when he was ruling, there was a big long list with all kind of names who were opposing him. But he never get the chance this time to ship them off because Unity knocked him out of plumb. And now, this king lawyer here from Bunky Hill, he not going to do this, he going to do that and do that. Here, let me tell him this. He not ready to lead a country. What he need to do, he is good with using his stethoscope and sounding people and prescribe the medication. Go back to that. You're not supposed to be a leader. You don't have the qualification to be a leader. Hospital out of water, and I run do better.
Okay.
And Congress come talk about the water improvement is better in Cairn. But let me move to somebody else get a chance.
Okay, my brother. Thanks a lot.
Tell them use the overseas line, but they got to put one in front first.
Okay, right, fair. Thanks a lot, my brother. Let's go back to the lines. I'm having some difficulty with my local line, but the overseas line again is 646-829-6672. I go back to the line. Caller, you live.
Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Hi, good evening, Patrice.
Good evening, my dear. How art thou?
I'm wonderful.
That voice sounds
I
familiar.
just calling to wish you. Yes, your cousin here.
How art thou,
I
my
just
dear?
calling to wish you. I'm wonderful. I'm still here in the land of the living, giving God thanks.
Good to hear
I
you.
just calling to wish you. Yes, I just calling to wish you happy birthday when it comes around tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
And I wish you many more. Beg your pardon?
I said thank you very much in advance, my dear.
Okay, yes. And I wish you many more years to come. And Patrice, I want you to stand firm. May the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you and give you peace. And this is the time for peace, perfect peace.
Yes,
I will pass by your home tomorrow for a drink and I'll chit chat. You have a good evening, my cousin. Take care.
Okay, my dear cuz. Have yourself a wonderful night. Yes, it's
you too.
All about peace. And I stay at peace, believe it or not. I'm at peace with my God. I'm at peace with myself, and I'm at peace with the world. And that call of culture reminded us about some other people who were deported. But what's happening now with this political fear and victimization that's been instilled in the people? It is troublesome. It is troubling because we are in the 21st century, and when we look at what's happening in St. Kitts and Nevis, and for some reason, people don't like to hear the truth, and the truth is, under the Team Unity administration, things were much different. As I said to you earlier, that when Team Unity came into office some 7 years ago, I believe that Team Unity had a Lord-appointed or Lord-anointed leader called Timothy Harris. And we knew that, and we will always remember that he gave us a good example of representation of not just some of the people, but all of the people. And we recognize that from the moment he stood up in the parliament one Friday afternoon, I could recall, and made a statement of what I call sacrifice and commitment to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, when he said, if I perish, I perish. And under Team Unity and under Tim Harris, Labour, PAM, PLP, and everybody kept their jobs in government. Because Timothy moved away from the tribal nastiness. He got away from party politics and stood up for the people. I'm going to try my local line again because it's still going. I'll see if I get some results. Caller? Are you there, caller? You're live. Hello, caller? Okay, the caller's dropped out. But my overseas line, 646-829-6672. You can access that number via WhatsApp as well. So if you want to avoid spending your money, you can call that number. Call the number, my straight talk, 646 829 6672. It accepts WhatsApp calls as well. So you can call me via WhatsApp on that number, 646 829 6672. So you don't have to call the overseas number and rack up some costs on your phone. You can call me free via WhatsApp on 646 as well, 829 6672 for those who are trying to get in on the local number, which don't seem to be, or seem to have some difficulty. You can access the overseas number via WhatsApp. Again, the overseas number, it's 646, beg your pardon, 829 6672. I go to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, that is.
Yes,
of what I call sacrifice.
Yes, you have your equipment or your telephone or your radio on. Just move away from your equipment or your radio, please. Hello, caller.
Yes.
Yes, you're live.
Hello.
Yes, you're live, my
Yes,
brother.
that's it.
Yes.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
This is the first time I'm calling on your program. I'm a very regular listener to your program.
Thank you. I hope it won't be the last time.
No, I hope not. But I know this is not. He's a Bible man, and I think that you know the scripture about Nehemiah when he was building the wall.
Yes.
And people was against him and trying to stop him from building the wall. And Nehemiah said, I am doing a good work and I cannot come down.
Right.
So continue to do the good work. That's it.
Thank you.
Continue to do the good work.
Thank you very much for the encouragement.
Yes, and you know, I know this is not the time for this program, but a calling, because about 20-something years ago, the labor minister promised the non-establishment workers pension. Every year he go up on the party and he say he's going to make non-establishment workers pensionable. And up to now, nothing done. And Timothy Harris had promised to make us pensionable and to carry back retroactive to 2012. And I would like you, Patrice, to find out for me what this Jew government is doing about our pension. Because he's looking after the rich, filling up the pocket and forgetting the poor people, Patrice. And I would like you to look into it for me, please. I'll be listening even tonight or tomorrow. I don't know when you'll get the answer, but I'm listening.
I'll investigate that, my brother. I will investigate that. And thanks for calling as a first timer. Trust it won't be the last time.
And you have a good night and have a happy birthday when it comes tomorrow.
Thank you very much, my dear brother, and thanks for your encouragement. Again, for my listeners who are having difficulty on that local line, you can access my overseas line via WhatsApp as well. The local line, let's see if it's going. Are they caller? Okay. What I suggest to sort things out, my stray dog family, I'm having some difficulties with 663-6672. But it won't cost you anything. If you have WhatsApp, you can WhatsApp 646-829-6672, and that will as well give you access to the program. So I do accept WhatsApp calls on both lines, or perhaps just try the WhatsApp number on the 646-829-6672. And this email reads, what was the noise about? Because Dr. Harris decided to seek help from the World Bank to work out the fair share for Nevis. Mark, Drew, Dwyer, McMahon all yelled abuse at Harris, saying that any student from the CFBC can easily work it out. Harris was wasting time and money, they contended. But lo and behold, Drew now realized that Harris was right, and as a result, he has decided to follow Harris's lead and invite the World Bank to come and work out a fair share for Nevis. I wonder how those critics of Harris feel now. They don't realize the brilliance of the man called Timothy Harris, reads that email. It's now 8:14, my Straight Dog family. It's 9:14, I say. And I've been trying to get this number. This number's been calling me. It seems like a UK number. I'm trying to suggest to you. I'll try to answer this again on my local line, but it's not functioning. Are you there, caller? No, my local number is just not working. So I want to suggest. I'm seeing this UK number coming up all the time, but I want to suggest that you try calling the overseas line, which is working, 646-829-6672, and that has access via WhatsApp as well. For those on the local lines, you can call me with your local number, beg your pardon, via WhatsApp on the overseas number as well, so save your costs, my Straight Talk family. This message reads, I'll get to that message right now. This message reads, my Straight Dog family, this message reads, greetings, Mr. Liebert. The Attorney General is not instilling fear in anyone. It is he who is living in fear. His fear is the worst kind of all. Fear of the truth and fear of the facts. But sir, remember, the truth is like smoke. You cannot hide it. The truth is like smoke. You cannot hide it. Very interesting. My Stray Dog family, it's now 16 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Yes, we are having some difficulties with the lines, but we will overcome those difficulties, I'm sure. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
We will overcome.
Yes.
Patrice,
yes.
Good night.
Good night. Just turn the equipment down, move away from it, turn your radio down, and you'll be heard.
Yes, Patrice. Yes, Patrice.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm calling. I'm calling to verify something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Patrice, for the 7 years that Unity was in, I heard you asking about the passport. How much passport being sold under this present government?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ask the government for 7 years how much passport they're being sold?
Well, I asked in cabinet, and the former prime minister gave us the figures. I think it was in 2018.
Oh, so you brought it over the year in 2018 then?
Yes.
Oh. It's something. It's something good for the nation to know about how much passport being sold, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You know, going forward, because we put them there for a reason.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yes. So what's the issue about the government going on down there right now? Because, I just started to tune in to find out certain things that going on in St. Kitts. I'm calling from the UK, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Well, we have what seemed to have crept into our politics and our society is political fear, intimidation, and victimization. It's like you have a new government, a Labour government. I don't know exactly what's the percentage of the vote they got, but let's say they got 49%. It seems as if only that percentage have a right to employment and to speak. And if you're calling from England, that can't happen in England.
No. So you ever try to support the new government in terms of trying to find out some of the issues that going on.
They don't listen. They're all experts. they're all experts. I mean, every time you hear the Prime Minister talk, he said they have experts. And that's the difficulty I have. Everybody's an expert.
Oh. So you ever try to, contact the new Prime Minister properly in terms of, sitting down and dialogue with him to say, well, about certain things that going on in the country, yeah?
I never tried. If I must be frank with you, but I had, via someone who is very close to him, invited him on Straight Talk. He can have the entire program if you wish. Before he comes on Straight Talk, we'll have...
Not cutting you off.
Mm-hmm.
Not cutting you off, but, victimization happened with, all governments. All governments, government appointees, they ask them to resign in certain areas, yeah? Mm-hmm. And those are who are on contract, they will give them a time until, because they don't want to, remove them and they still have to pay them, even though they remove them and still have to pay someone that come in present. So, both governments, yeah, does ask them to remove. So, if they cannot work with them, it's just fair that, they can have a time to remove themselves from there until, because, some government don't want to work with certain people who being appointed before, yeah?
I take your point, though. It doesn't necessarily follow that everyone who is in a contract is a political. You're speaking to political appointments, right?
Yes.
I can reference my own case, which was a political appointment as an ambassador, and the government has that right to recall me, and they did. I had absolutely no problem with that, even though the way they went about it is something else. But to get back to your point, not every contract or worker on contract is a political appointee. I do have workers within the system who are on contract.
Yes.
And not everybody who is a permanent secretary or is in a particular position are political appointees. They're carrier civil servants. But this is what's happening. What is happening is...
That is true. That is true.
What is happening there?
Because I try to follow, I am a Kititian, yeah? Mm-hmm. So I try to follow, certain news back home to find out how things are going.
Mm-hmm. And that's good,
Yeah?
Like home is home, But the fact
home
is...
It's always been home.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like after 1 year, and I stayed up to try to, know what's going on home, because I still have to work in the morning, yeah, and it's very cold, but I stayed up just to get on, to know what's going on. Yeah?
Yeah. What's going on, it's sad, right? And I know this lady who
but it's been...
Sorry, go ahead.
Did it ever happen, like back in the 70s, like people get victimized, even though they are not appointees under the Team Unity government?
Well, I have seen people have made reference, right, to victimization in cases, for example, in 2011, the Douglas Labour administration introduced what they call a public service bill. But in that public service bill, you now can work until you're 62 years old, I think it is. But it did not, those in the service before 2011, that bill did not apply to them. But before that, those who were called in the Pension Act had to retire at 55 years. So the government has
that was back in Trump time, yeah? That was back in Trump time.
It was even up to 2011 in Labour's time. Labour introduced the bill in 2011. Right?
Yes,
so it always had the Pension Act. So it's left to the government to keep you in employment after 55 years. So even now, as I speak with you, there are some people in the service who, once it comes to their 55th birthday, they should resign and ask for additional time, and they can only be given 1 year at a time.
True.
Right. So, But some people call that victimization. That's not.
True.
That's not.
No, that is not, because I've been seeing that happen even under the past government.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know he had all guys work in the government industry, and they're already like 65, 67,
Mm-hmm.
heading up there, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, they need to give room for the younger ones to come in who went and study and get these jobs.
Well, it's good.
And the government need to stop bringing people from overseas, from elsewhere, like in the Caribbean, and bringing them into St. Kitts to work and get the top jobs. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because St. Kitts people deserve the vote for government because they need to get the top jobs. Not people who is overseas, who never know nothing about the government, don't know nothing about St. Kitts history, don't know nothing about St. Kitts, and come and get jobs over people who from St. Kitts, yeah?
Well, we have a CARICOM, a free movement of skills and so on. Eh? So,
have a free movement, yeah?
Mhm.
But how much people they're taking from St. Kitts to work in their country? They're taking people from other countries to work in their country, but we taking them to work in our country and leaving our citizens home doing the less unfortunate jobs, the low class jobs. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have what the Jamaicans say, you dance a yard before you dance abroad, yeah? Look for your citizens first, because those are who you're looking for to put you as representative for them. So you make sure you give them the jobs that are available. You don't give other people overseas the job to send back home their money to make their family more healthier and richer than people who is in St. Kitts. So who in St. Kitts must clean the toilets, clean the bathrooms, do housekeeping, and those who come from overseas have on, jacket and tie, pen in pocket, yeah, and do the better job, less hours, more money, and, we must go to the foreign countries and, do those small jobs. Let those people who voted for the party or voted for whoever party, Palm Labour, UPP, any party, yeah, get the jobs back home.
Well, your point is taken.
Yeah. That is what our ancestors fought for.
Mm-hmm.
Our ancestors fought that their children to come can live a better life in the country that they fought for. But the politicians, them, as soon as they get elected and get rich, they forget who put them there. And that shouldn't be, man. That shouldn't be. You understand? You have to look out for your citizens. Your citizens come first. Make sure they get the top jobs. The top jobs that in the country, we all know Kittitians can do a lot of things. We're small, but we can do a lot, yeah? We can do a lot.
You're right, my brother.
The country is small, and we can do a lot. When people find out the government are bringing in people from different countries, they don't feel like we are very illiterate. We only can vote and put them there, but they're bringing people from other countries and put them there to get the top jobs. It's no good, man. It's no good. It's no good, Patches. Trust me.
I think
I have to get up early. Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we heard you loud and clear. Yeah, man. The difference with this is CARICOM movement similar to the
sometimes the CARICOM movement is not because the CARICOM movement we're gonna keep bringing in people all the time.
I agree
so
with you.
If we want a barber, we will bring in a barber, and we have barber at home. If we want a cane cutter, back in the days we bring in cane cutters to cut the cane, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to move from that now, Patches, and start bringing in people. We people home can do these jobs. We people. That's why crime will always be on the rampant, because sometimes when we have to go home with little as much to give our kids, it still cannot help. You understand? It still cannot help. So, we got to move away from that, man. We have to move away from that. That is no good, man. We have to look for our citizens first. Because, Patches,
yes,
I tell you, I will never come home, come vote and give someone a government that they not deserve, yeah? Yeah, I will never do that. I'll never come home unless I'm living there, yeah?
Well, that's another issue on its own as well. And you're so correct. You know.
Yeah, even though, Patches, even though I'm from there, I'll never do that. I'll never do that because when I leave there, they have to suffer the consequence, and it's not fair. So, being on straight up, it's straight up. So what I'm looking for, everyone have flaws. There is no man. God said, never you call no man on earth is good. You understand? No man on earth is good. You have nice people. Never you call a man good.
Okay. Well, thanks for your...
Yeah, because he said he without sin cast the first stone, and I know everybody have their flaws. So, you know, I don't think someone should be bringing down someone, you know, because of party politics. We all need to live together. You understand? Because when it's said and done, whatever we own, we have to go leave it, man.
Yes, you're so right, my brother. No one is infallible, as you said, but I want to thank...
You ever think about sitting down with the Prime Minister one of these days to dialogue with him face to face?
I will look forward to that. I think I can...
you have to put to the board. Put that to the board that, you know, we all are not monsters to fear each other. We all are human. So one of these times you just put out, you know, something and try to invite him for, you know, face-to-face talk. We cannot let politics divide and rule, man.
Okay.
Those days gone.
Okay, my
politics ain't supposed to divide and rule us.
Got you loud and clear, my brother.
When he said that politicians, them, they get together and they tap their hand together behind closed door, and they come on the pulpit and they bring them one another and, you know, put each other, you know, against each other. We have to let go of that, man.
Okay.
So, to take care, man. Have a good night, yeah?
Thanks a lot for your intervention. I trust we'll hear you some other
thanks.
time. And thanks for staying up at this time.
Yeah, I will try, man. I will try, man. But you know, I gotta get some sleep. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's
go rest.
Time,
go rest, my brother.
Yeah, it's very cold, man. It's very cold.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks a lot for your input, my brother.
Thank you.
Always good to hear interventions from our people in the diaspora. And again, my Stray Dog family, you can access my overseas line, which is 646-829-6672. You can access this via WhatsApp, my Stray Dog family. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Okay, Patches, this is your boy Culture again.
How are you, Mr. Culture?
You used to go on a park, so you're supposed to remember Messiah from Barbados. We used to walk down conflicts.
Messiah, yes.
He was one, got deported.
Okay.
And Mr. Bucket of Shadwell, he was deported back to, and Mr. Boyno over Connery.
Boyno from Connery, yes, ma'am. You got a good memory there, man. You got a good memory. Yes, Bino. So many people were deported back then, you know. And what's happening now under the Jew administration? You know, this victimization, you know, and this fear. It just brought us back to those times, you know. Brought us back to those times, you know.
And I mean, come on, Joe, you ain't even in the year yet. From the moment he gone in there. He got with a big stick, a sledgehammer, political sledgehammer and a political big stick, and crushing and banging people, and victimizing people, intimidating people. Come on, Joe. You're doing exactly opposite to what you criticize and you say you're not going to do. Come on. Again, Patches, he will ask the question in his conference about the $130 million that Christopher Harbour got, and if that is what you call forgiveness, and hear how he want to answer the question. Oh, saying he have 30% share in that. So in other words, you know, he want to equal 30% with $130 million. That is the answer.
Nonsense.
Instead of saying, no, we're not going to forgive them, yes. Why he like to baba weave and duck like that from questions? He got to face them. That shows that he do not know what he is doing. And the kind of people, some of the kind of people what he got around him advising him, I want to know if that is the way they're advising him or he just ignorant. Because don't forget, you know, he is one of the man who come here many times. He is what you call a political Taliban. You have no respect for people, human lives. When you're going to take up somebody and turn them away from a job, and they're not in fault of the company rules and regulation, you know what he's doing? He's setting them up to do wrong to survive, which is wrong. You're telling people, okay, you can't get a job, honestly, go do wrong to get a job. That should not be. No way. You don't do that. Before you take away, you're supposed to add. Give work to. And then this thing about, what you call it, dividend, which belongs to the whole nation from the CBI. The CBI passport, the nation one. Why should he just pick out and give some and leave out the rest? Well, that is not the CBI thing then. If that is the way he don't give out the money, that is not CBI. So he's lying to people, and everybody's supposed to stand up like you, Ian Patch's lawyer. Before I forget, all the best tomorrow on your birthday.
Thank you very much.
And I want you to cock your foot and drink your coffee.
Just like Diddy. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, my brother.
And let me go to the other one now. Now, you're supposed to have 3 leaders of parties in the opposition in Parliament. Yeah, you have Dr. Harris, the ex-Prime Minister, and you have Sean Richard, the ex-Deputy Prime Minister, and you got Mark Brantley from Nevis. Both 3 of them are supposed to be on the opposition bench. But there's only 2 are honest. They are sitting where they're supposed to be sitting and carrying out the responsibility of opposition members. But Brantley is a devious, backbiting, and snaking. That look at he not sitting over there like he is an opposition. Anywhere the leader of the country go, he's following him. He's so close behind he. He's so close behind the leader as an opposition that if Dr. Joe Lego a political fat, no other politician gonna smell it because he's so close upon the Dr. Joe, he gonna smell all. What kind of hat he gonna be wearing in Parliament? An oil hat and which is a blue. He gonna wear a red hat, which is a Labour.
Okay.
And what he gonna wear for unity?
Okay, my brother. Thanks.
I don't know.
Thanks for
anyway, have a good night, dear brother Patrice. Thank you very much.
Have a good night for your intervention.
Cock your foot and drink your coffee.
Thank you, my brother. Right? I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
I remember you. Yes, it's now 37 minutes past 9:23 before 10 o'clock. Again, you can access my overseas number 646-829-6672 via the WhatsApp as well. So those of you who are on the local scene who are having difficulty because my local lines seem to be messing up here, you can access my overseas line at no cost whatsoever by dialing the WhatsApp. Get the 646-829-6672 via WhatsApp. If you have just joined me, we reflected on the last 6 months in our federation. and our citizens are experiencing a level of intimidation, fear, and victimization by a government not seen in many, many years in this country. And this has raised questions about our rating in the annual global report on political rights and civil liberties. And that report is called Freedom in the World. And we're ranked highly. But what has been happening has made many people to reflect on the 70s when Bradshaw deported people, during Kennedy Simmons' time, when civil servants were fired, people were redeployed or relocated, moved away from their families. I remember policemen sent to Nevis and so on. Then came Douglas, who fired civil servants or public servants left, right, and center. And that caller from the United Kingdom just asked about the 7 years under Team Unity. But under Team Unity, for those 7 years, we had what I call a good example of representation of all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis by a leader who, from the moment he stood in Parliament, as I said earlier, and made this statement, "If I perish, I perish." It was a statement of sacrifice and commitment, I call it. We knew that we were going to be in for a good thing. Because Timothy Harris moved away from the tribal nastiness. He got away from the party politics and stood up for the people, especially for the poor people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Now we have a young man called Terence Drew. In my view, he has no clue on how to govern as everything is going wrong. And like that caller suggested, I am open to have us sit and chat with him. I am open to inviting him here on Straight Talk. We will outline the parameters. We can agree what we should not talk about and what we should talk about. I always extend that courtesy to any guest that I have on my program. So he must fear not coming on Straight Talk, the people's program. Because we will discuss. I'm not going to bring him to Straight Talk to have anybody disrespect him. But we need to know, Dr. Drew, we need to know why is this when this intimidation and termination and victimization of poor workers in this country, when it's going to stop. And someone asked me, and someone confirmed the fabrication, that sounds nice, the lies that comes from the mouth of our Prime Minister. I mean, we mentioned earlier at the start of the program, we mentioned this talk about free education. Education being free, but people are being charged fees. Yes, I have a copy of the fee structure from the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College. Aldo Drew said this.
Your Labour-led government will immediately provide free tuition for all students of the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College going forward. And those who have paid, you will be refunded.
And this comes from the college. To a student, if you have a balance, it reads on your account, I quote, please note that this balance must be cleared before you would be allowed to register. And it goes on, the following fees are not free and must be paid before you can register for your classes on SONIS Web. List teacher education, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Midwifery, exam fees, OADM, and too, and marketing fees. And it goes on, my Straight Talk family. So who is telling the truth? And for my caller, a Straight Talk family who called from the UK, one of the things and the mistakes, I call it a mistake, that Drew and his team are making, they believe that their team is a team filled with experts. And I don't make things up. I don't fabricate things. This comes from the mouth of the top expert himself, Prime Minister Drew.
I'm tremendously proud of this team. This team is filled with experts in various fields. Any field you might call, there's an expert here, somebody who is well versed in that area, even more versed than me, and that's a good thing. So if I talk about sustainable development, you have Dr. Joya Clark. If I speak to youth and women affairs, you have Honorable Iselin. If I speak about small business and entertainment and agriculture, Honorable Samuel Duggins, well established. If I speak about energy and engineering and so forth, the Honorable Conway Maynard. If I speak about the law, it's a given, or our AGS. When I speak about the tourism product and the advancement of labor laws and so forth, we have our learned Honorable who is a lawyer. When I speak about experience in government, we have our senior minister, the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas. When I speak about education, and when you talk about empowering of the youth and community development, we have our Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Jeffrey Hadley. And so this team is a serious team.
Yes, a team of experts. So they don't listen. Cold like the morning dew. They are a team of experts. So cold like the morning dew. They intimidate, they terminate, and victimize the poor workers. And like I said, I was happy. I was happy to hear the former Deputy Prime Minister, who seemed to have come out and let his voice be heard. And we need some more of this.
I turn to the vexing issue of victimization. While it is understandable that elections have consequences and that a change in government will see implicit changes in board members, etc., what is baffling is that this government promised to be different. They promised to do better. They promised to be a government for all citizens. Yet, here we are, victimizing citizens at every turn with no regard for their skills, talents, performance, nor for the families they have to feed.
No regard whatsoever. Imagine a woman with a family given a letter just about old year's day, old year's morning, we can call it, and terminated with effective immediately. And I can go on and on. And I there's something I'll speak about in time to come. But for obvious reasons, I won't speak about it right now. But my Straight Talk family, victimization, intimidation, and fear is still our people. I want to welcome Sharon, reads this email, long-standing DJ at Win FM, on her new program she hosted this morning with Azad Gums. It was quite enlightening, informative, and satisfying. I also want to denounce the previous morning Teacup program for its biased behavior against Straight Talk. They never once highlighted and rebroadcast any positive information emanating from Straight Talk or Michael Powell's People's Voice, as they would do with Dwyer's commentary. But anything they consider to be negative or even libelous against Powell and Straight Talk, they lament and promote it. All I want to say, that now you are being kicked out of Win FM, And according to your press release, you will find another media house. I don't care where you go. Treat everyone the same. Ambassadors Patches and Powell are consequential personalities in the Federation and must not be diminished in any way, reads that email. Wonder what's there about the mail. At the budgetary session in December, reads this email, the Speaker allowed the Prime Minister to use some inappropriate language against Sean, which was bad and wrong in the Parliament. And I think she should call upon the Prime Minister to apologize and have him withdraw the language he used against Sean. I agree that Sean's erudite presentation was to the point in every aspect of the budget, shortcomings, beg your pardon, in contrast to Mark, to the official opposition leader, who virtually gave his full support to the budget. But when the Speaker allowed the Prime Minister to refer to Sean as MU and did nothing about it except to grin, that was bad for the House, reads this email. This other email reads, Drew has brought a serious blight. Dr. Drew, rather, has brought a serious blight to the life and development of our Federation. St. Kitts is now under a curse. God has rejected him to lead, and no amount of prayer from Isaiah Phillip and other Labour pastors like the Southern Labour pastor at the village church will remove that curse. Drew has fatally wounded the spirit of our nation. He has brought a curse on our nation. God will not hear Drew's pastors when they pray. We need deliverance from the great evil of Terence Drew, reads this email. Let's take this other email. This other email reminds me of another one who was deported, a cricketer by the name of Antonison. I think he was an estate manager, reads this email. So many people were deported under Bradshaw. And what is happening now reminds us of them. I should have taken the names, all the other names, to add with the names I advanced earlier. When Bradshaw deported Peters, he deported Williams, Mr. Williams from the bottling company, shopkeeper, shop owner, Mr. Hunt, Carney Osborne, the general manager of ZIZ Radio and Television, Johannes Bino, as well as another Bajan from the was it Nevis or Conway Estate, I think it was. And we flash back. But as we wind down tonight's program in my Straight Dog family, I want to apologize for technical difficulties in the beginning. I understand that Wynn did not join us tonight. I don't know what's the reason for that, but in due course I will learn that. Now, I want to apologize for technical difficulties we had with our local telephone number, but we still have some time for maybe 2 more calls, and you can access 646-829-6672. That's the overseas line. But again, and learn this in the future, that you can access all the lines via WhatsApp. You can access all my telephone lines via WhatsApp, both lines. The overseas number and the local number can be accessed via WhatsApp. But as we wind down tonight's program in my Straight Dog family, those of you who may have joined me late, we reflected on our topic tonight, political fear and victimization spread across the nation. And once ago, as I intimated earlier, we boasted as Kittitians and Nevisians that we lived in one of the freest countries in the world. But in the last 6 months, I submit, citizens of our federation are experiencing a level of intimidation, fear, and victimization by a government we have not seen in many, many years. And this has raised questions. It has raised many questions about our rating in the annual global report on political rights and civil liberties. This report is called Freedom in the World. Let's take this call. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Patrice. Are you listening? You right? And you say you got about time for 2 more calls. But anyway, add this to the list of deportees. A man from South Africa, the name Buckland. He used to work for J.W. Thorson. He didn't live up Alois. He was deported too.
My Bradshaw.
And you remember bouncing from McNoy? He was deported to Mousetrap. Buckland used to go around and pick up dog wine license. And he catch them, he get them pound.
You got all
and go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I was saying you have all these names down packed, but go ahead.
Joe King Lawyer, he named out the many different things that he got export to. But he forget to name out that when it comes to arithmetic, maths, or sums, he do not have no export to count how many passports he signed on since he knew. That is the one and he don't have no export to work off the money that Christopher Harbour had paid back to the bank or what if they did not pay none.
They haven't paid back a cent.
So he do not have no export when it come on that. You were saying something?
They haven't paid a cent to the bank.
Oh, okay then.
Haven't paid
well,
1 cent.
He got 1 cent. And he's free to answer the...
I'm sorry, they had 2
and
loans.
He's free to...
I'm sorry about that. I'm really sorry about that. They had 2 loans, but just for information, a $16 million US $60 million and $6 million. So they I believe they have some interest on those loans. Plus they had a $60 million loan as well from the SIDF. So in all told, it was about $48 million, if my memory serves me well. That takes it to about $130 million EC.
Okay. And can you imagine poor people scrabbling to pay back the debt where they owe them? In spite of the haircut that many persons had to take. Right now, whether you got it or you don't have it, you have to pay your water, your electric light, and your mortgage and whatsoever. And he can turn with people who have those demands to meet. What you want them to do? And then they want to sweep the one over Christopher Harbour over the under the rug. It can't happen, so people. It is time for us to follow Sean. Let us hit the streets who can and show him that this country is not his. And he ain't going to do as he like. Not here. And he partner who first come out and say that police ain't supposed to do anybody when they see them smoking the marijuana. Because they expunge the record and whatnot. He now come back and say, if police meet them smoking the marijuana in the public, he make his statement wrong. He's supposed to say in a crowded place. But if a man walking in the street by himself and he's smoking the marijuana, what do you mean a police supposed to lock him up and charge him $1,000? That is what he's supposed to be fearful of. You're talking banging the chest, well, he's afraid. You're afraid? You're afraid of the people who you offend. Be their rights when it comes to that. Well, brother, I have to go now. So you enjoy the rest of the night until tomorrow. Sleep hard and dream.
Cock my foot and drink my wine, not coffee.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, my dear brother.
Okay, man.
Yes. Saying good night to my Facebook massive, Adam Anderson, Yvette Nurse, Darrell, how are you doing tonight? Alonzo Hassel there in St. Martin, and from Miami, Stanford Carey, and all the Facebook crew who connected tonight. As we wind down tonight's programming, again, I must apologize for our technical difficulties. But my Stray Dog family, we looked at political fear and victimization spread across the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we reflected as well, let's take this call. Perhaps I'll make this my last call. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes, you're live.
Hi. Good night.
Good night, my dear.
How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm fine. I'm doing great. So, my question is to you, and of course to other callers. My main question is, what happened to fairness?
To CMS?
What happened to being just? My reason for asking that question is because
Did you say
hello?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Did you say CMS? What happened to what?
Fairness.
Oh, fairness. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yes. Yes. What happened to being fairness, and where did this sense of being judgmental fall into play? Or who gave us, as individuals, as humans, the authority to be judgmental? Because judging is a sin, eh? It is.
What are we judging?
So,
What are we judging?
Sorry?
May I ask, what are we judging?
Well, individuals, of course, the Prime Minister, the present party. I mean, callers would call in based on your topic.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just for clarification, the topic, as you just referred to, political fear and victimization. The topic you just referred to, political fear and victimization spread across the Federation.
Yeah.
We can. It will take me about the next 15 minutes. I can cite the cases of victimization where people were sent home.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that?
But then when you say victimization, then I mean yourself and others, you all are basically victimizing the present Prime Minister.
Victimizing him.
You all cast many judgments towards the present Prime Minister, and many things you all basically trying to crucify him for. The former minister has done, or him and his party has taken part of, or taken part in.
Example.
So when you look at one, you look at the other.
No, but don't be so loose. Give us an example, please.
When you look at one, we have to look at the other.
Yeah, but give us an example.
And if none is better than none, then the present one shouldn't be bashed every time you have your talk show.
Yeah, but give us an example, I ask you, just so we can be rational. Give us an example.
My example would be every time you make the statement, Minister Drew, you continue your sentence and you yourself would know and your listeners would know what you say when you start your sentence or your statement, Minister Drew. I could never recall hearing you say Prime Minister, the Honorable. I've never. I mean, he is the Prime Minister. Why not give him that full respect, even though you have your show and you make your topics and you put yourself out there. You're not addressing the proper way as how you address Minister Harris, who is not the Prime Minister.
I call him Timothy.
So then there is victimization from yourself when you speak about being victimized.
Yeah, but I'm not in the House of Assembly, so I don't have to say that. But I can say that as a matter of courtesy. I said tonight Timothy Harris. I say it so many times.
No, but then it just goes to show the level of respect.
If I said Timothy
that is my point.
If I said Timothy Harris has not been disrespectful.
It just goes to show the level of respect if there is a prime minister now, I'm asking you because you have your show, and I have no problem with your show.
Okay.
But I mean, if we're gonna do something, we need to do it the right way and in a respectful way.
Okay.
I've never heard you address him.
Okay, okay, that's an oversight, and I apologize for that. Anything
I've
else?
never actually even heard anything positive from you. I mean, okay, you criticize, but what about not criticizing?
What is it positive to
what
say?
What about saying the former Prime Minister himself victimized persons and also ask them to leave their state of employment? And let me give a little note to that caller who just called. Other persons who were turned away by former government party, they had bills to meet as well, and they had demands to meet, and they had mouths to feed, just like who you think, okay, they have the most now to deal with. It goes both ways. We shouldn't just look at one end and leave the other end because we are in favor of the other end. No, they say if you have a friend, tell your friend when your friend is wrong. Don't just tell your enemy, oh, you're wrong for doing that when your friend is doing the same thing. It makes you just as bad as them.
I totally agree with you.
I listen to your talk.
I totally agree with you. Just for a second.
Your talk show.
Okay, go ahead. You're not giving me a second at all, okay? But I'm saying I totally agree with you.
I'm going to give you a second.
I totally agree with you, right? But what is there to commend Prime Minister Drew, right? If he's asked a question about CBI passports, for example, and he gives us a nonsense answer. Bear me out. He gives a nonsense answer,
I'm hearing you.
which is a dishonest answer to tell the reporter that the CIU has done, what do you call it, an audit, right? The CIU don't deal with passports. The CIU deals with the applications. The applications are finalized in the Prime Minister's office, and passports are issued by the Ministry of National Security, of which he is the minister. So he's not being upfront with the country.
Okay.
Right? So
this is what, from a personal point of view, this is what I will commend the Prime Minister for, and I hope he is listening. Yeah? Since St. Kitts and Nevis experienced COVID, the year 2019 up until, we could say maybe 2022, because we were just coming out of it. Remember, there was the frontline workers, yeah?
Yeah.
Remember, there was contact tracers. You remember?
I'm listening.
You remember that squad from 2019? You remember Minister Akila, who promised the frontline workers they will receive their award. From early morning, 12 hours a day, I did. Days, weeks, months. The former party, as they stated, they will give a reward. Where is it? I will commend Dr. Joe for recognizing somebody like me who left my children at home while I stood in the faces of people who actually had COVID, who actually were coughing, sneezing, sweating, eyes filled like as if they had blood. I experienced it for myself, so I will talk. So I have something to be grateful for and to say thanks for to the former party, to the former Minister of Health who made promises and never filled them. That is something to speak about. It is. And we must also look at these things because, I mean, he might not be doing everything. He might not be doing what everybody wants or what everybody likes, but at least doing something is better than nothing.
But, okay.
Yes.
And we must... persons being
insulted. You didn't face that for me. I faced it. Dr. Joe had nothing to do with it, but yet he commended us, yeah? We were never recognized. My name was never called for doing video shoots in related to contact tracing or being a frontline worker, it was never recognized. But at least I felt acknowledged by Dr. Joe. I will give him that. Even if I don't vote for the party, I give him that as an individual. I will. And others who were commended or rewarded, they will give him that too. They would. That is something at least to say, okay.
So let us come.
It's acknowledgement.
I can't get in the word at all with you. But so let straight commend you. And we trust that you would have done your service, and not just getting monetary awards and so on. It's good. It helps the situation. But COVID-19 was something we've did not see in 100 years. So, I really want to commend you for that, my dear. But in terms of the frontline workers, there's some issues I did in fact have with it, because, what really is a frontline worker? That's another question, right? But, I vaguely recall, though, right, that the team unity administration, in fact, paid some $3 million or more to frontline workers in the form of additional, I don't know if you call it overtime or what it was called, right? For paid to workers who during the COVID-19. So some form of compensation was paid. I don't know if you benefited from it.
Well, it wasn't rang in my ears.
It was what?
It was not rang in my ears at all.
It didn't ring. It didn't get enough, you mean?
No, it didn't ring. It didn't ring in my ears. No?
It was too small?
No, it didn't come across my ears then. That the former party gave X, Y, and Z, to these individuals.
There's overtime paid for workers. There's some excess monies paid. And then that you can investigate that. Yeah.
I could, and I know there was also. Anyway, you're cutting me off for the night.
No, I'm not cutting you off. I'm not cutting you off, sweetheart.
Anyway,
but
all I am saying.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
All I am saying, let fear be fear.
Okay.
If you're gonna look at one side, look at the other side.
So
because then it seems like it's a competition, or it's okay, pick and choose, or it's a rally or relay to see, like, who is gonna win, who is the best man out. Give everybody an opportunity and a fair chance. I mean, before the bickering starts.
Yeah, well, my dear,
because I've been through, I've witnessed, I've lived through the former party, and I have had my share of suffering, of course. So, it's a matter of speaking from experience. So it's like, okay, let's see what's going to happen now. Everybody make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, not because his name is Dr. Joe. Of course, I expect him to falter in between, but it's a learning experience. We all don't know it. Nobody was born with that book in their brain to say, okay, this is how it's going to go on. No. We learn throughout, and if you have some input, give him your input. Don't just come on the radio and say, oh, what a man, and this and that, and give him your input.
He said he's an expert. He has an expert in the ministry.
But he what?
But he said that. I just played that to you. But listen, my dear. Dr. Joe.
My dear, you yourself, listen, my last statement then.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
You yourself will speak confidently of yourself. Remember that. You yourself will speak confidently of yourself. Who wouldn't?
I'm not that kind of individual.
I am an expert as well, I am an expert in everything. I am no expert.
Dr. Joe said he would do things different. He said he would do things different, and he's doing them worse. Quite frankly, he said he's an expert. He came to.
But we all have a different point of view.
Okay.
We all have a different point of view. So then you can't say for him it is the wrong way, because you're a different individual to him. To him it's the right way, but to you it's different.
No, we know.
To him, you are doing it wrong, but to you, you're doing it right.
Come on. You know what is wrong.
Come on.
We know what's wrong from right.
Okay.
But thanks for your intervention, my dear. Perhaps we'll have
You're welcome.
We have to continue this discussion on my next program if you so desire. But
we will.
Truth be told, right? You know, and that's what we need. That's what we need on Straight Up. We need different voices, different. You know, we're not a one track mind sort of program, right? We entertain diverse views, and that is what I like. And everyone has a view. That's why I allowed you to.
Would you say the former Prime Minister has done anything wrong? Would you say he ever did anything wrong or anything unjust?
But you just said to all is human. So what kind of question?
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. So I need your your fair answer.
But the only man.
But it's a lot of but.
The only man who walked the only man who walked the face of this earth was in parable was Jesus Christ. To all is human. We said that.
Okay, so you can't answer me directly then. You're answering me indirectly.
Everybody make mistakes. Right? Everybody make mistakes.
But you're not criticizing former Prime Minister.
Well, I did before. But anyway, I gave you some extra time, and you can't complain about that, right?
Okay, yes. Have a good night. Have a good night, and have a great birthday as well.
Thank you very much, my dear. And that's what Straight. Thank you very much. That's what Straight Talk is all about. We entertain diverse views, right? She's saying that Dr. Jew can victimize, and then his defense is, yes, I victimize. But my predecessors victimized. That's not big different. Is that being fair? That's this message I just got. My Straight Talk family, you know, I'm out of time. I believe that Win FM was not with us tonight, so I'm at liberty to give you the time I've just given you. I'll go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, you're live.
Hello.
Yes, I can't entertain you for too long.
I'm live on the air right now.
Beg pardon?
Am I live on the air right now?
Yes, you're live. Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a couple questions. This is Straight Talk Radio, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. How come you're allowed on Straight Talk when I remember you sucked my penis? Remember we had gay sex with your big black penis?
I think you got the wrong program, right? If you're looking boys, we don't have boys here. You know, we don't indulge in that sort of behavior. My dear brother, whoever you are probably on some coke or some heroin. So perhaps you can find some needles elsewhere, and then you can have a discussion on that. And my Straight Talk family, it's 16 past 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock that is. I did give you some extra time. But as we discussed tonight, political fear and victimization spread across the Federation. And we reflected on the 6 months citizens of Federation, the last 6 months. And I see this caller is ringing out like, caller, I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Just 10 seconds I can afford. Can you use 10 seconds?
I could use less than 10 seconds. But is when you go to the court, the judge passes decision on what she hear out of your mouth, or what evidence you have to show the judge. So when a caller going to ask, well, why are we judging? We are judging according to what the man say. He promised to do a lot of things, and he gone in and he doing contrary to what he promised. That is why we ain't judging him. We just showing the world what kind of lawyer he is. And this last person here, tell him this is not the program for what he come talk about. So good night.
Have yourself a good night. That's the way we're gonna end it. My lines are going, but I'm way out of time. My Straight Talk family. We reflected on the 6 months and the political fear and victimization that's being handed out by the Jew administration. And my Straight Talk family, as the former Deputy Prime Minister put it, I concur with him. He said this.
Rather than use the opportunity to be different, we have unfortunately gotten the same old labor in a new suit and tie, sitting in the halls of government. Haphazard, ill-thought-out plans and policies is typical of a labor government.
Same old labor, the new suit and tie. My Shredlock family, the lady called about the 7 years under Team Unity. It's the best years we've had in this country from lots of different perspectives. Our crime was addressed. We spoke earlier about the new commissioner who's replacing the outgoing commissioner, Hilroy Brandy. When we got into government, homicides were at an alarming rate of 36 homicides in St. Kitts. We were called the murder capital of the world. Commissioner Brandy, he must be commended highly. As he goes into his retirement, we wish him well. He brought that down to 10 or 11 homicides. Our national debt. Remember what our Prime Minister said about the national debt? We were one of the highest debtor nations in the world. Under Team Unity, under Harris. He repaid the IMF and brought our debt to GDP ratio below the standard set by the central bank of 62%. I think it came back down to 58% debt to GDP ratio. COVID-19, a coronavirus-induced pandemic, never seen in 100 years, a whole century. There was no template to deal with COVID-19. And Harris led a life-first strategy. And that too is commendable. Our infrastructure development, nothing to compare. When you look down at the port, if I look down tomorrow, no doubt I'll see 4 ships alongside. Team Unity built a new cruise pier that took 20 years of a Labour administration and they could not build one. And I can go on and on. My Shredlock family, Timothy Harris moved away from the tribal nastiness. He got away from the party politics and stood up for the people, especially the poor people. And I say, respectfully, now we have a man called Prime Minister Terence Michael Drew, who has no clue on how to govern, as everything is going wrong. Every simple thing is just going wrong.
In a recessionary year, not just for St. Kitts and Nevis, but in countries globally, there is an associated increase in cost of living. For this reason, we understood and outlined a series of relief measures to help individuals and families weather the dry months. The new administration did some of the same in its campaign. Here we are, again, some 5 or so months later, with energy crises and grocery hikes. None of the election promises have been fulfilled. Opportunities have not been created in employment or incentives. The new administration had announced the capping of fuel. Nothing done. Healthcare, no improvement in healthcare to date. The water situation is worse. The hospital is out of water. The Cardin home out of water. Homes out of water for more than a day, including during the height of the Christmas and Carnival season. This is unacceptable in modern society. Governments are in office to help solve national problems. Governments are put in place to care about people.
That's what governments are for. But cold like the morning dew, the Prime Minister intimidates, he terminates, and he victimizes the poor workers in this country. Prime Minister Drew is an impersonator. He is not ready for prime ministership. As a matter of fact, there's one prime minister in the Labour Party cabinet who seemed to work in absentia. He's never there to help Prime Minister Drew. His name is Denzel Llewellyn-Douglas. But Drew has said that he will never walk in Denzel's shadow. He confided in someone that he will never. So he impersonates a prime minister. Meanwhile, the Right Honorable Denzel Llewellyn-Douglas gives no guidance to Prime Minister Drew, who is about to put the ship of state on the rocks, while Denzel cocks his foot and sips his coffee. The people that are affected mostly by the actions of the government are the poor and the working class citizens who are dependent on the government for employment and social programs. When the Constitution of St. Kitts Nevis was written, it included clauses that guaranteed every citizen full fundamental rights and freedoms. In addition to these rights being spelt out, the representatives who are elected to serve take an oath of office to abide and execute these rights to their citizens. However, some of these representatives, after they have been sworn in, after they have taken their oaths, they tend to forget. They tend to forget, to ignore the reasons why they are elected to serve, like this pompous one.
I'm not afraid of anybody. And I was saying that straight up. I'm not scared of anybody. I was hired to do a job, and I'm going to do that job. So some people should be shaking in their boots right now.
I have witnessed many Kittitians who have lost their jobs just because they are deemed to be an opposition supporter, or they might have said something against the governing political party or one of their political representatives. There were times when it was not only the person, but members of his or her family as well. It did not matter whether they were performing exceptionally well or not. People are not only afraid of vindictive acts coming against them by Prime Minister Terence Michael Drew's government, but also against their relatives who continue to live in fear. Many people in St. Kitts Nevis were dissatisfied with the Team Unity government, but they were not afraid to speak out because of reprisals that will come their way if they had spoken. But hell no, not with Drew and Labour, the same old Labour. Citizens have a fundamental right to join any political party that they choose. They also have the right to vote for any candidate of their choice. I have many relatives who are members of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, but whatever party they choose, they are still my relatives, and that is their right. How can we continue to build an independent nation when most of our people are living in a state of perpetual fear? This is not the way it should be in a democracy. The response to fear for many is called the fight to flight. Well, say like King Shortshirt did, nobody gonna run you from where you come from. But don't do like my King Elimat and run away. No flight, let's stay and fight. Happy birthday to my brother King Eli. St. Kitts is good enough for everybody else, so it must be good enough for you and me. Nobody gonna run me from my country. So tonight, I call on every Kittitian and Nevision to demand of all of our political parties to commit themselves to ending the politics of intimidation. Let us call on our current crop of labor leaders in government to get rid of this political fear and victimization that has spread across the Federation. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I want to thank you, the many callers. I apologize for those who could not get to my local line, but remember, in future, there's always access via WhatsApp. You can access any line, the overseas line or the local line via WhatsApp. I want to thank those on social media, Facebook, YouTube. I am not certain I understand Win was not with us tonight. We apologize for that. What's the reason, I don't know. But all of you who listen, those who sent emails, and those who called, remember, irrespective of your view, you're entitled to any view here on Straight Talk. But without you, there's no Straight Talk. So all of you are the ones who made Straight Talk, and I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Pachilai, and God's spare we will connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until then, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light and thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees to the Lord I kneel and pray, with my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day. My guardian to keep